Hey guys, today we are reading Dan Gutman, The Homework Machine. We're reading chapter 5 and 6 today, so it is going to be a longer video, and I am just going to start reading. Chapter 5, January. Hold on one second. Chapter 5, January. Sam, grade 5. My dad was sent overseas. It was during the vacation, I remember. We got the call around New Year's Day. Kind of put a damper on the celebration. He had been in the Air Force for years, and we always knew he could be called away at any time. But I guess we just hoped it wouldn't happen. Me and my brother and my mom were pretty upset, but he was a soldier, right? You do what you're ordered to. You know, when you sign up that you're going to defend your country one way or another, I understand. I don't really want to talk about it. Before he went away, my dad gave me his chessboard and some books about chess. He told me to practice up, so when he came home, I would be able to give him a good game. Judy. I was very upset when Snike's dad was sent to the Middle East. We're not best friends or anything, but even so, Snike was all gung-ho G.I. Joe about it. He said, my dad is going to shoot guys, and that kind of silly macho thing. I was against the war, and I didn't want to see the dad of someone I knew get hurt. I didn't discuss it with Snike very much. I didn't want him telling me that people who were against the war were traitors and all that. But I'm sure he was thinking about his dad all the time. How could you not? Brenton. I have always thought that instead of fighting wars and leaders of the two sides should play a game of chess instead of each other. Whoever wins the game wins the war. Nobody has to die. War is not the answer. Chess is the answer. Kelsey. When I heard that Snike's dad had to go to the Middle East, I just started crying. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. It was like something opened inside of me. Everybody gathered around me and asked me what was wrong. That was the first time I ever told anybody at school that my dad died. I didn't want Snike's dad to die too. We probably have Air Force Base in Hawaii and Southern California and cool places like that all over the world. But he had to get sent to the one place where there was a war going on. Talking about bad luck. 5th grade teacher. When Sam's father was sent overseas, I noticed a change came over him. He didn't crack many jokes anymore. He stopped making fun of people. He was more businesslike, grim even. I tried to talk to him about it, but he obviously didn't want to. I wanted to confront him. Sometimes you can't help. You just can't help. Judy. By January, we were using belch each day. I had stopped doing my homework on my own entirely. I never even thought about doing it that way anymore. It was so much easier just using belch. My mom used to smoke cigarettes when she was younger. I asked one day, just for fun of it, when she was out with some friends who smoked. She didn't like it that much. But a few days later, she was with the same people, and she had another one. She just wanted to fit in, you know. Little by little, she started smoking cigarettes here and there. And soon, she started thinking about having a cigarette when she wasn't smoking one. Before she knew it, she was smoking a pack of cigarettes every day. And she was addicted to them. I think I was becoming addicted to belch, about almost the same way. I asked my mom how she quit smoking, and she said it was very hard. She tried to a whole bunch of times, but she couldn't do it. Finally, she quit when she was pregnant with me. She didn't want me to be harmed by the tobacco in her body. That's what it took for her to stop. Ronnie. Every day Snike Kelsey, Judy, Brenton would leave school together, a little foursome. They just couldn't be a tight group. I couldn't resist. I had to find out what was going on. So I followed them, hiding behind trees and bushes and stuff so they wouldn't see me. They went on over to Brenton's house. I hid behind the car parked across the street. A few minutes later, they went inside. I saw some movement in one of the windows on the second floor. It was probably Brenton's room. His mother bought them something on a tray. Then she left, and they closed the door. It looked like Brenton was fussing with his computer. I couldn't tell exactly what he was doing. The others were standing around, talking and laughing. They stayed maybe an hour, and then they left. That was it. Sam. My dad sent me an email saying, how about a game of chess? I asked him, how can we play chess when I'm in Arizona and he's in the middle of some desert? He says we should each set up a chessboard and we could tell the other one our moves by email. He says lots of soldiers are doing it, and he gave me the address of the website that makes it easier. I went to the website, but it looked complicated. They used the code to identify the pieces and their positions on the board. It's like this: P equals pawn, R equals rook, N equals knight, B equals bishop, Q equals queen, and K equals knight. You use capital letters for the white pieces and lowercase letters for the black pieces. When you're ready to make a move, you name the piece of the square you're moving it to. So if white types in NF3, that means he's moving his knight to the third row and the sixth column. I emailed my dad and it says, it sounds pretty complicated to me. He says, I'm a big wimp. I'm afraid to play with him because I know I'd lose. So this is what I email him back. PE4. Judy. Jessica Martin used to be my best friend in the whole world. We've known each other since we were in kindergarten. When we were in the same class at school last year, we would come home every day to do our homework together. Sometimes other girls in the class joined us too. Jessica asked me to meet her in the bathroom after lunch. She was all serious, like she had something very important and personal to get off her chest. She said she was upset because we hadn't seen each other in a long time, and I never called her anymore. I said it was nothing. We were in different classes now, and I was just busy, that's all. I couldn't tell her about Belch, of course. Jessica asked me if Kelsey was my new best friend, because she saw me riding bikes home from school with her. Jessica said that Kelsey is like trailer trash, and she got pink hair and everything. I said, don't be ridiculous. I could never be friends with Kelsey. It wasn't a nice thing to say, but I didn't know what else to say to Jessica. I didn't feel good about the whole thing. I didn't know what to do. I'm just not good in situations like that, Sam. So this jerk Ronnie comes up to me in the lunchroom one day and asks me why I'm hanging around with Brenton. I tell him I'm not hanging around with Brenton, and he says, oh yeah, how come you leave the school with him every day? I say it's none of his business who I leave school with, and he better leave me alone and stop watching me or I'll bust his head open. That shut him up. Kelsey. My friend Heather in the other class asked me if I wanted to come over after school and listen to this cool new CD she burned by some new band. I told her I couldn't, but I didn't tell her I was going over to Brenton's and with Judy and Snike. She looked kind of hurt and said, what's up? How come I see you with a jerk Judy all the time now? Are you friends? Are you turning goody-goody? She said. Judy was stuck up and snotty and all that. I said I know. I told her I wasn't friends with Judy or anything. I couldn't tell Heather about Belch. She tells everybody everything. I guess it's better for Heather to tell everybody I am friends with Judy than to have her tell everybody about Belch. Judy. I felt bad about Jessica, so I called her up and I asked her if she wanted to do something. She said she couldn't because she had tons of homework to do. My homework was done hours before she started asking all these questions, like, how come you aren't working on your homework? How did you finish it so fast? I kind of freaked out. What was I supposed to say? That a machine did my homework for me? I told Jessica that I did some of my homework at school, but I'm not sure if she believed me. I was never a very good liar. Some people can just look at you in the eye and tell you a total lie, and you never know it. When I tell a lie, I get nervous and I start sweating and stuttering, and I can't look the person in the face. I'm terrible at it. I'd rather just tell the truth and to tell you the truth, but sometimes I can't. Kelsey. Heather said she thought it over and she couldn't be friends with me anymore if I was going to hang out with stuck-up jerk like Judy. So I told her that I didn't want to be friends with anybody who insisted to tell me who I was allowed to hang out with. She got all mad, and so did I. I guess me and Heather aren't friends anymore. Judy. I was walking to the bike rack with Snike and Kelsey when I saw Jessica and some of the other girls leaving school together. I guess they were going to do their homework together. Jessica kind of glanced at me. She didn't invite me to join them. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. After that, we weren't friends anymore. 5th grade teacher. When Sam told me he was playing a game of chess with his father by email, I was just thrilled. Before that, I didn't see that he had any real hobbies or interests. Finally, he had found a positive interest that would stimulate his mind, and every child needs that. For some kids, it's sports or playing a musical instrument or reading. For me, it was nature. For Sam, it was chess. I also thought playing chess was a great way for him to keep in touch with his father, who was so far away. It helped get Sam out of his funk for a while, too. I was careful not to tell Sam how pleased I was with the chess, though. Sam is one of those students who think that if a grown-up approves of something they do, it must not be very cool, and maybe he should stop doing it. I didn't want that to happen, so you have to be careful with the way you treat your child. Judy. My dad has this thing where we have to sit around the dinner table and talk about serious subjects every night. Like, he'll bring up the subject of gun control and athletes taking steroids, and the whole family has to give their opinions. One night, we were talking about knowing right from wrong. Dad said that sometimes the difference between right and wrong is obvious. Like when you add two numbers together, there is a right answer and a wrong answer. Or robbing a bank or killing somebody is definitely wrong. But in some situations, you can't tell the difference between right and wrong so easily. Like driving faster than the speed limit is wrong. But if you're rushing to the hospital so that a baby can be born, then speeding is okay. Or hitting somebody with a baseball bat is wrong. But if that person was attacking your mom, then it's okay. I didn't feel well. I felt physically ill. I had to excuse myself from the table. Kelsey. Feeling guilty about what I did. Yeah, I guess, a little. But hey, we didn't hurt anybody. There are a lot of horrible people in the world who get away with lots of stuff. What we did wasn't so bad. There are degrees of wrongness, you know. If you get all worked up over the little wrongs, you won't appreciate how wrong the big wrongs are. Police Chief Rebecca Fish. I first became aware of this so-called homework machine back in January. Got anonymous tips. Somebody called the hotline and said a kid at Grand Canyon School developed a machine that did homework automatically. Then they hung up. It sounded like a kid. Traced the call to pay phone. Figured it was a crank. Kids do this kind of stuff all the time. Sounds like a load of bull. If you'll excuse my French. It's standard procedure to keep a record of all calls. So I did, of course, just in case. I know a guy in Washington who looks into this kind of stuff. He told him what I knew, which wasn't much. He said maybe he would check it out if he had time. Ronnie. It wasn't me, I swear. It wasn't me who told the cops about the machine. I'll swear it on a stack of Bibles if you want me to. I swear it on my mother. I never called the police. Chapter 6. February. Judy. One morning, Kelsey came to me and said she had a secret she wanted to share with me. Ordinarily, I don't like sharing secrets or hearing other people's secrets. It's not that far from lying, really, because once you know somebody's secret and you keep it to yourself, you're not being honest with the people around you. Anyway, Kelsey looked like she was going to tell me the secret no matter what. She lifted up her shirt and showed me that she had pierced her belly button. Well, I almost threw up. That is just about the most disgusting thing I've ever saw. I can't believe her mom would let her do that. Or maybe I can't after all. She did let Kelsey dye her hair pink, but I can't understand why anybody would ever want to do that. It's just gross. My mom always told me that if I don't have something nice to say to somebody, I shouldn't say nothing at all. But I lied and told Kelsey her belly button ring was cool, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. Kelsey. I knew Judy thought that what I did was disgusting. She's good at a lot of stuff, but she's not very good at hiding her feelings. But hey, she pierced her ears, right? What's the difference? 5th grade teacher. I was in the lounge and I asked some of the other teachers if it was common for the unpopular child to suddenly become popular with the other students. That's what it seemed to have happened with Brenton. He was just about shunned when school started, and very soon he seemed to be quite popular. I couldn't figure it out. Miss Wallace, who has been teaching for more than 20 years, said that a child can change a lot in 1 year. Some kids start 5th grade at maturity level of a 4th grader, and end of the year, which with the maternity level of a 6th grader. But she said that in all her years of teaching, she had only seen unpopular kids suddenly become popular a few times. She said that if that happens, it means the other kid is using them or her in some way. Kids don't just suddenly become popular for no reason. Judy. One day I went to get a drink of water after the bell rang for dismissal. And when I got back to the class tonight, Brenton and Kelsey were gone. They went to Brenton's house without me. That had never happened before. I was really upset. I hopped on my bike and oh my gosh, what the heck? I hopped on my bike and all the way over there I was trying to figure it out. Was it an accident or did they do it on purpose? Maybe there was something they wanted to talk about and they didn't want me to hear. Were they trying to send me a message? Were they trying to cut me out of the group? I didn't know what to do. Kelsey. Judy came in all upset. I asked her what was wrong, and she said nothing. But it was obvious. It was all over her face. She totally can't hide her emotions. Finally, she blurted out that she was mad because we left without her. Man, she gets upset easy. I told her it was nothing. We looked around for her after school and couldn't find her, so we left. What's the big deal? I told her she was being silly, and then she got mad at that. Her voice was even trembling. She stayed mad for a long time. Man, when she grows up, she's gonna get an ankler or something. She's cares too much about everything. She's lucky she doesn't have anything serious to worry about. When I was 6, my dad got hit by a snowmobile, and he died. I was there. I saw it. When something like that happens to you, it puts stuff into perspective. I'm not going to get all bent out of shape because some kids will leave school without me. You know what I mean? Sam. In an email, I asked my dad if he shot anybody yet. He said he didn't want to talk about stuff like that, and maybe we should stick to chess. He beat me pretty fast in the first email game. I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention because he captured my queen, and after that he took all my other pieces one by one. I'll never let that happen again. After he checkmates me, he asks me if I'm up for another game, or am I too chicken. I tell him to bring it on. Hotshot. He moves one of his pawns up, and so do I. I move the pieces on our chessboard at home so I could see the game better. Chess by email is pretty cool. I wouldn't usually check my mail after dinner, and Dad's move would be there waiting for me. I liked having as much time as I needed to decide what to do next. No pressure. I learned some of the basic strategies by then. Like, you want to bring your pieces out from the back row as early in the game as possible, but you don't want to bring your queen out too early because then she's open to attack and she can get in the way of your pawns. It's a really complicated game. You gotta think. Brenton. Snike came in one morning with his chessboard. He told me he was playing a game against his dad and he needed some advice. He set up the pieces and I looked things over. He had done a pretty nice job. His dad was a piece ahead, but Snike was in a good position and could still win. I told him a few things he didn't know, like a rook is worth more than a bishop or knight, which are worth about the same. And if you have 2 pawns in position to make a capture, you want to capture towards the center of the board. But he had already learned a lot of stuff on his own. He's smarter than he gives himself credit for. I'm an okay player, not great. I've never really studied the game. The most important thing to know is that chess isn't a battle, it's a war. You want to gradually build up tiny advantages and make your position better, until the enemy has no choice but to quit. I advised Snike to castle so he could get his king away from the center of the board. 5th grade teacher. I really didn't know all that much about chess myself. I had played a tiny bit as a child. All I knew was how the various pieces moved. I didn't understand the strategy. But when I saw Sam and Brenton talking over a chessboard, it seemed like one of those wonderful, teachable moments we live for. So I scrapped our lesson plans for the morning. I drew a chessboard on the chalkboard and explained to everyone the basic rules of play. The students started giving their ideas about which move Sam should make next. Sam and Brenton stood at the front of the chess and explained why some moves might be smarter than others. It was fascinating for the whole class. I could almost see the whole wheels turning in their little heads. We spent the whole morning doing that. And finally, Sam decided to castle. That's when your knight and a rook switch places. It was a wonderful learning experience that I'll remember for the rest of my teaching career. Judy's mom. I couldn't help but notice that Judy wasn't spending much time doing homework in 4th grade. She used to come home from school and work on it for hours, even if she didn't have too much homework. She would go over it again and again until it was perfect. I naturally assumed that her workload would be a little heavier in 5th grade, but that wasn't the case. It seemed like She never did any homework at all. I was worried maybe she had lost her enthusiasm for school. I asked Judy about it, and she said that Miss Rasmussen was a really easy teacher who didn't believe in giving a lot of homework. When we had our parent-teacher conference, I suggested to Miss Rasmussen that maybe she should give the students more homework. She told me that some of the students felt there was too much homework, and it was a few of the parents had complained about the time their kids had to spend on it. She said that Judy was just an excellent student, and that was probably why she finished her homework so quickly. I wanted to believe that, and so I did. Kelsey. Then there was a day Judy made a Valentine's Day card for Brenton, and it was like World War III broke out. Sam. So Judy gives a Valentine's Day card to Brenton. She doesn't give one to me, so she doesn't give one to Kelsey. I don't think she gave one to anyone in the class but Brenton. Maybe she only gives Valentine's to smart kids. I wasn't jealous. I mean, a girl has to be right to like anybody she wants. It just kind of took me by surprise, that's all. I didn't know she liked Brenton, actually. I kind of thought she might have a crush on me. I can't imagine why she would pick him over me. Judy. I didn't like either of them. Snike thinks he is so cool, but deep down, he is so insecure. He couldn't get over the idea that anyone might like Brenton better than him. It meant nothing. It was just a silly Valentine. But everybody in the class was talking about it, as if Brenton and I were going to get married or something. Brenton. I have always viewed Valentine's Day, and most holidays for that matter, as artificial celebration that provides opportunity for big corporations to make people feel guilty to buy greeting cards, flowers, chocolates, and presents. But it was a nice gesture. I thought nothing of it. Kelsey. There was this one day when Miss Rasmussen gave us a homework vacation. No homework for a change. Well, when we left school, we all forgot that there was no homework and headed to Brenton's house anyways, like we always did. It was until we got up to his room and we figured out we didn't have any homework to do. Well, we all felt pretty stupid. We were going to go home, but Brenton's mom brought in some chocolate chip cookies that were awesome. We took them down to the basement and played ping pong for a while. Turns out that Brenton is a great ping pong player. I couldn't believe it. He even beat Snike, who is always the best athlete in the gym. Snike was all mad, and he was saying that Brenton was cheating and stuff. It was a riot. I'll say this for Brenton. He constantly surprises you. Sam. I like to hit the ball hard and slam it past the other guy, but Brenton wouldn't let me. He kept dinging the stupid little weak shots just over the net where I couldn't reach them putting these weird spins on the ball so I wouldn't know which way it was going to bounce. That got to be illegal. Ronnie. Yeah, I was the one who wrote the message on the boys' room wall. I guess now it's all over, I can admit it. Hey, it wasn't as bad as what they did. I knew they were going to something. What the heck? I knew they were up to something. No way kids like Judy Brenton would hang around kids like Kelsey and Snikewad. Heck, no way any of them would hang around with each other. And no way other kids like Kelsey and Snikewad should be getting A's. So I wrote D Squad are cheaters with a marker on the wall on one of the stalls. I used my left hand so nobody could say it was my handwriting. That's all I did. I didn't know how they were cheating, but they had to be doing something. It rubbed off the next day. I guess words got around. People were talking. Sam. So I'm in the boys' room and I see the graffiti. I scribble over it right away. I hope that nobody else saw it, but maybe every boy in the school saw it before I went in there. Who knows? I didn't know who wrote it, but I had my suspicions. The whole thing shook me up. If anybody found out about Belch, we would be in a big trouble. Kelsey, Snike said we had another meeting, so we all met at the big concrete turtle in the playground during recess. We get there, and he's all whispering stuff like we're spies. He says we may have a leak. He wanted to know who spilled the beans. Well, it sure wasn't me. I knew that. No, nobody admitted it. Judy got all freaked out like she was going to cry or something. She is so emotional, Brenton said. One of those weird things he always says that makes no sense to anybody but him. Sorry, guys. Snike said we should all be cool about it and remember that we made a pact not to tell anybody. He said that if anybody asks any of us about Belch, we should deny everything. Just say none of us knew anything about it. I figured it was nothing. Kids passed around dumb rumors about other kids all the time, but this time the rumor was true. 5th grade teacher. After thinking it over for a long time, I decided to split up the kids in the D squad. I didn't like the way they were always whispering to each other. It's good when the group of kids bond together, but when they form their own little secret society that excludes everyone else, it's usually a sign of trouble. I suspect something was going on. I told the class it would be a good learning experience if they changed seats every so often and got to work with other students. I put Sam, Judy, Kelsey, and Brenton in separate groups, one in each corner of the classroom. Kelsey, we were constantly having these stupid meetings. It seemed like we had a meeting every day. It's time it was Judy we had to have one. It was right after Miss Rasmussen changed our seats around, and Judy was freaking out, as usual. She was starting to get pimples on her face over this. We met at Brenton's house after school because Judy didn't want us to be seen together at recess. She was all worried. Judy. Teachers don't just move everybody's desks around for no reason. Usually it's because of a behavior problem, or maybe they find out that some kid had bad eyesight or hearing, or they need to sit closer to the front of the room. But none of that was going on. None of the other groups were split up the way we were, with each of them stuck in a different corner. Miss Rasmussen did it on purpose. I was sure. She probably figured it all out. She probably knew about Belch. Everything I had worked so hard for was gone. My face was breaking out. I felt like my life was over. Kelsey. The phone rang one day when I was home alone. I picked it up, and it was that milliner guy. He said he really wants to talk to me. The guy was like a stalker or something. I had no idea how he got my number. I hung up on him. Alright, guys. And that is the end of Chapter 5 and 6. I will see you guys in Chapter 7 in the next video.